Hi, I'm Marissa Soares. During slavery in the South, African Americans had to cook with only the food that their slave owners did not eat. They also used locally grown produce and other inexpensive foods. This food, as what we know today, became soul food. It is a type of food traditionally prepared and cooked by African Americans. It dates way back to the transatlantic slave trade. The term derived from other terms such as soul brother and sister and soul music, and so it only made sense to name the food that African Americans ate soul food. The term became popular in the 1960s when African American culture was celebrated for its contribution to the American way of life. Women cooked by frying. This increased the calories, fat content, and sodium content to sustain a long workday for their fellow slaves. These types of unhealthy ingredients were easily available to them, so it made it harder to stay away from them. Some examples of soul food include fried chicken, cornbread, collard greens, and pork. Because it became popular, many restaurants today serve soul food. In Fresno, there is Big Breast Soul Food and Watts Family Grill. Soul food is served nationwide, and there's differences in the way people cook their soul food. For example, in South Carolina, their soul food is more rice-based. Despite their differences and the unique food that African Americans cook, it continues to be popular nationwide.
My name is Thomas Lerner, and I will be doing why people do not want to change their eating habits with soul food. Soul food became popular in America in the 1960s. That's when it really took off. It was introduced during the transatlantic slave trade. Europeans fed their slaves what they had left over, or the waste, so that kind of gave way to soul food in general. Soul food consists of like black-eyed peas, sweet potatoes, sweet potato pie actually, grits and things like that. This is why African Americans did not want to change the way they eat, because it's so deeply ingrained within, like, it's their cultural identity pretty much. So this is how they knew that it was bad for him, but he kept eating it anyways because that's what he grew up on and that's the only thing he knew. So I mean, and it eventually led to him having pancreatic cancer. So it's not good for you, but a lot of people are trying to change it. Like Michelle Obama, she's pushing for more supermarkets to move into low-income areas and introduce healthier foods. So things like that guy's father doesn't happen that often. So people can have healthier ways of eating, means of eating, and even though it's not as cheap, it's still a better thing than getting cancer. I mean, so that's all I have for why people do not want to change the way they eat for soul food. Have a nice day.
Hi, my name is Julie Wong, and I'm going to be talking about the geography of soul food. Geographic location of soul food and supermarkets can have an effect on the health of the people who consume such foods. There are different social class statuses and foods in any city in America, but I chose to focus on Atlanta, Georgia. People in different socioeconomic statuses are able to afford different types of food because of where they live. The lower class doesn't make much money, if any at all, so they eat whatever they can buy that is cheap, including fast food and soul food. Sometimes the poorer people in Atlanta may not live near a place that has a supermarket or a grocery store close enough to obtain food to cook for themselves. These areas are called food deserts. The fact that fast foods and processed foods are closer to the homes of these less privileged people means that their health could be at risk simply because they cannot afford or don't have access to any produce. Some people may live 10 or more miles away from the nearest grocery store without means of transportation. This is an inconvenience for many people and is more common than you think. They resort to consuming whatever food is closest to them, which is usually fast food and soul food restaurants. Also, they go to liquor stores or mini-marts that are close to their homes and eat whatever they find there, likely processed foods that are such as chips and candy. These foods do not usually have great quality, leading people to purchase and consume fattier, unhealthy foods, such as soul food and other processed foods. Soul foods, when traditionally prepared, have become a health concern due to the high amounts of starch, cholesterol, fat, sodium, and calories in each dish. In recent years, people have begun to realize the effects of soul food and fast food on the health of our bodies. They have started building grocery stores in and closer to the food deserts to benefit the people. As a result, people are eating healthier and not getting as many diseases that may be caused by such foods. Even the school systems have joined in on the healthy eating revolution.
Hello, I'm Christopher Mejia, and I'm going to talk to you about the nutritional value of soul food. Soul food is the cultural food for African Americans, and it's very unhealthy. African Americans, because of the lack of healthy food, suffer from chronic diseases including heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. This is most prominent in the African culture compared to other cultures because their food, which is soul food, is very unhealthy. The University of Nevada began to collaborate with communities to address this issue. The Food for Health and Soul Project was formed. Unlike other health projects, this project main priority was to increase the nutritional value of food while also keeping its cultural roots. Ways that they have made soul foods healthier, and like examples. Fried chicken. Depending on the size, it can be 240 to 500 calories and 13 to 25 grams of fat. To substitute this, they came up with options, including breaded and baked chicken. And an even better alternative that strays away from the soul roots are broiled and grilled chicken. Another soul food, for example, is biscuits with gravy. Biscuits and 1/4 a cup of gravy total to 500 calories and 30 grams of fat. A better option, while staying true to social food traditions, would be milk or buttermilk biscuits alone. Alternative that strays away from soul food roots is an English McMuffin that is made of whole wheat grains. Another example that they've created is cornbread. 2 ounces of cornbread is 180 calories and 20 grams of fat. It's especially bad because white flour is refined and doesn't have any and has no nutritional value whatsoever. To combat this, the University of Nevada has asked people to decrease the fat and carbs by using unbleached flour, less sugar, and no vegetable oils. In conclusion, thank you for listening to our presentation about soul food, and hopefully you learn to increase the nutritional value of your own food at home while also remaining close to your traditional roots. Thank you.